A long time ago I promised to do a Diablo 2 Reimagined video, and I am a man of my word, so here it is. For this run I decided that if I was going to play a mod I should try and do something that isn't possible in the main game, so I decided to ban all the old items. No stealth, no spirit, no nothing, so let's get started and see what these new items can do. So what is Diablo 2 Reimagined? Well, it's Diablo 2, but reimagined, so there's a ton of new items and a stash as big as my dick and as empty as my brain. There is a whole wiki out there explaining things, but you can go read it if you want, cause I sure didn't. Reading is for nerds after all. Potions now have different notations as well. I've put it all on the screen so you can read what is going on with the items on the floor. I personally don't know if I like this way of naming them. It feels very Excel sheet and very not Diablo 2 to me. Kind of breaking immersion, but it gets the job done. With the assignment being creating less clutter and text on the battlefield. Me and Reimagined have very different views on potions all around though, but more on that later. You could already see a few skeletons walking around on the screen, but I'm also free rolling a clay golem. I wouldn't take this if it wasn't on the way to the summon resist skill, but it is, so we take it. And if you're wondering what the blue aura the golem is creating is, it's a defiance aura, raising the defense of the party. As usual, the first goal is to get some gear going, and just like in the base game, the best way to do it is to go to the Countess, who now drops a bit higher quality runes, which I discovered by finding both an Ord and a Toll rune from normal Countess, which would normally be nightmare drops. They also drop in stacks and show the number of the runes now. The stacking is a stash thing, where you can put up to a 100 of the same rune in one slot, which is neat. One of the biggest gameplay changes in this mod is the boss fights. These are a very mixed bag all in all. Some of them are massive improvements over the base game, like the smith here, who now has a couple of the swords he created flying around with him ready to attack you. This is sweet and adds a ton of flavor and difficulty to the fight. It suddenly feels like a real reward to conquer the Heraldric Malice. If only all of them were done this well. The smith ends up dropping the first unique of the run, the Skein of Deceit. This level 11 shield that has a casual 5 skills on it is the first hint on things being a little bit higher on the power scale of things. The skill selection on this definitely bolts it in as a sorcerer's shield though, but I'll equip it for the mana to get things bolted down on that front. Design wise I think this should have been a sorcerer's weapon by the way. It feels off to find a small shield that only works for one class. In the Catacombs level 2 I reach the glory that has been our birthright since the creation of the Necromancer in the original Diablo 2. For those not in the know, skeletal mages got a massive boost in the resurrected version of the game. However, they still suck shit through a straw. Maybe now, finally. Skeletal mages are good. I'm not asking for a lot here. I want to see how far they will clear the game. I'm really hoping they will do well. I have wanted to do a skeletal mage run for 26 years. Before we move on though, I have an admission to make. I've wrecked many a build over the years, some in good sport, some for memes and some because I wasn't paying attention. What you should always be paying attention to is the quality of your sleep, and that's where today's sponsor Manta Sleep comes in. If after a gazillion bail runs, the light of the Worldstone invades your bedroom even after shutting off your PC, you can block it out thanks to the Manta Sleep Mask Silk. This extremely soft silken sleep mask is a joy to put over your eyes. No pressure on your eyelids, no annoying straps digging into the back of your head. Just pure blackout comfort. And when I say blackout, I mean pitch black. Whether it's early morning sun, street lights or the glow of your second monitor that you definitely forgot to turn off, the Manta Sleep Mask blocks it all. Now we all know we are god gamers on pure caffeine, but better sleep means better focus. Better focus means fewer misclicks. And fewer misclicks means maybe, just maybe, you stop griefing your own builds. So if you want deeper sleep, faster recovery and the kind of rest that lets you wake up ready to grind instead of respawn, check out Manta Sleep, hit the link in the description and use my code for a discount. Now, with that said, let's get back to the action. In the Catacombs level 4 I encounter some tormented sisters. These are beefed up succubi. Here as well I think it's cool flavor wise, but they are still just more powerful versions of the regular enemies. So I'm going to explain some stuff. See those circles around the skeletons when they attack? That is splash damage, which means every time they hit a small area of effect goes off dealing a bit of damage to everyone near it. I haven't played a melee build in this, so I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes. Be sure to play the mod to try for yourself to see how much it matters. Upon her demise, my difference in the design of how potions are treated shows up. This is a unique boss. In the base game, those drop 4 potions. Here, they often drop 1 if any at all. Like in real life, I normally scavenge the area for any and all things I can put into my body for sustenance. This is made much harder to do here. This resulted in having to make so many trips to town. I don't get why monsters don't drop more items and 4 potions like in the normal game. Anyway, that is all my potion ranting done, and would you look at that, Andariel is dead. Act 2 looked a lot of the same. You pick up the Horadric Cube and the Staff of Kings as usual, but then you are ready to get your mind broken. I took the stairway to heaven in the desert and discovered that the summons have learned a new skill, namely rock climbing. These guys now just shit on gravity and walk wherever and however they want. I am going to try and subtly convey what I think about this. The summons being able to walk everywhere is the most glorious thing that has happened to mankind since the discovery of fire. No exaggeration at all whatsoever. With this little change, summons go from being complete dumb fucks that only get in each other's way to the most massive big dick energy chats on the face of the planet. I love this change and crave it in the base game now. Even if you could not give less of a fuck about all the new items, this change on its own makes the mod worth playing. The mercenary skipped class by the way, they are still as much of an idiot as usual. Figuring I was going to need to wear some actual gear, I decided to continue my gender dysphoria by rolling the rune word Revenge. This armor has another +1 to sorceress skills. This armor tries to deny the existence of spamming mana potions from a gigantic inventory with a huge amount of mana and regeneration. There are also some resistances on here, and the reason I decided to make it, the extra experience gained, which is a great tool to help you reach the 3 extra levels you need to wear this thing. If I'm not clear enough, that is a joke. That is not how that works. It is called being a smartass. I'm leaving nothing up to chance though. This 3-socket rune word that wishes it was rhyme has 28 magic find and 15 faster cast rate. It's neat for early levels, but I'm definitely looking to replace this as soon as possible. I just want to point out again how much skeletons ignoring the laws of physics is improving gameplay. Them just casually walking around instead made me realize how fun summoners can actually be when you're not trying to herd a bunch of skeletons on a mission to prove that consciousness was a clerical error. Something that took me by surprise was the summoner. I did not expect everybody's favorite victim to be beefed up into the fun police. Just a few hits and down I went. Can't even deny it, I was totally off guard here and got punished for it. Mr. Summoner Sir has definitely been to the gym once or twice, cause that massive health pool is just buff. All in all, a very much improved fight. This feels like how it should be. No notes, just keep it like this. Don't worry though, there will be notes coming, but those are for higher difficulties. The Duriel fight is strangely busy as well. There are some coffins in here now flooding the room with the brain dead. The problem with bosses dealing way too much damage to summons has not been solved yet though, so I end up going with the old faithful speedrun strategy of spamming Iron Maiden and Clay Golem to win the fight. This is a thing you can do in normal to circumvent the problem. It is not a solution to the problem, more on this in hell. Duriel dropped no deuces with an Orb of Infusion. This orb allows you to turn a white item into a rare. If you've ever played Path of Exile, you know the drill. It's the exact same thing. The other thing that dropped are Avienda's gift. I would hate getting gifted these though, they are not very good. Figuring I would need some levels, I decided to farm the Ruined Temple. The only thing smooth about this decision was my brain making it. I am nowhere near the power level of being able to farm this area right now. Trying to spruce up the power level a bit, I decided to see what the developers did with the Radamant fight. It turned out they did nothing much and the fight is just the same. One thing I haven't talked about yet is the skill trees. They now have fancy colors spicing it up quite a bit. The big thing though is that the prerequisites have been removed from the curses tree. You can now just grab anything you want here for just 1 skill point, no questions asked. I did the den as well by the way. Corpse Fire dropped a unique small charm, which is Colin's Lesser Might. It gives splash damage at the cost of weapon damage. It's neat, but not for us. Figuring I might as well roll the dice, cause this definitely isn't just gambling with extra stabs. I roll a rare Necromancer shield that turns out to have +3 to the skeleton mages. I'll gladly take that over rhyme at home. Looking to upgrade my leveling experience, I decided to make the rune word Knowledge. This has +1 to skills and 10% experience gained. There is some melee nonsense on there as well, but I would wear this if it only had the 10% experience. This carried me nicely through the rest of Act 3, where I was introduced to the Mephisto fight. I am going to try and be polite here and say that I am not a fan of putting the council members up there with Mephisto. On my second attempt, it took literal seconds for all my minions to just evaporate. Between the Conviction, the Hydras and the big man himself, this just felt completely hopeless. The problem might just be that my summons don't have any resistances, so in between attempts I put a point in summon resist, granting all of them 34% resist all. It did not help in the slightest and I ended up reverting back to the same thing I do everyday Pinky, Clay Golem plus Iron Maiden, which still is a temporary solution to a very permanent problem. He ends up dropping an Orb of Assemblage. As the green might already imply, this upgrades items to set items. Seems like an easy enough upgrade to me. Time to go and gamble a rare Necro Shield. You can just gamble class specific items here and time to upgrade it into. A saintly unravel ahead? Please developers, if items don't exist, just don't let me roll into them. This was such a massive feel bad and punishment for playing the game for the first time and just not knowing the items. Having swallowed my disappointment, it was time to move on to my meet and greet with Leviathan. Iswal brought his homies along this time. Just like his friend, he is just all presence no damage though, so after the mages used them for target practice for a bit, it was time to move on. The Diablo fight looks very familiar. The skeletons disintegrate upon getting a whiff of the big demon's aura. I don't have a great understanding of the beast, but I'm guessing I did about 666 clay golems and iron maidens. Dropping it like it's hot. Mr. Terror dropped an orb of conversion. Version about 7.0 of these items. This has me looking at life through the eyes of a tire hub, allowing an item to be converted into a unique. Now the smart thing to do with all these orbs is to just stash them until there is a unique you really want to have and just start rolling for that aggressively. That however is smart and therefore boring. There is a consistent supply of gambling being provided by these orbs and I will snort every single crumb of degeneracy I can get my nose on. If it fits in the cube, it is getting the dice rolled. Chiaroscuro Visage has only one downside, and that is that it is not for the build we are playing. I seriously considered a respec for this one, cause it's that good. 3 to poison and bone skills, 20 increased attack speed, 25 faster cast rate, added flat weapon damage, 1 to few poison damage and 35% crushing blow on a fucking shield. This thing is insane. It's a necromancer shield that would outperform almost any single melee item ever. I would love this on any paladin, barbarian or Amazon, but not on this summon necromancer. At level 30 I went and got a point of lower resist, which lowers the monster's resistances, allowing the skeletal mages to do more damage. Not everything has to be complicated after all. Bale has a few hands hanging out with him. These are just fancy Oblivion Knights. Nothing much more to say about them. Lots of Iron Maidens and Golems later. Normal is done. The set circlet turned out to be the jeweled circlet, which ironically doesn't have any jewels or sockets for jewels on it and is just a stat stick item. Orbs of Corruption are a Degenerate's wet dream, allowing you to coin flip destiny like Two-Face. Half of the time you'll even feel half as cool or dumb as he does. With normal done, let's start working our way into Nightmare. As always, we are starting off with a resistance check. Everything looks about as red as my bank account. Perfect, business as usual. There is room for improvement in the gear department. During a Countess run I finally found a belt I'd consider wearing. It's not good or anything, but at least it gets the random superior belt I bought in Act 1 normal off my hips. I'll explain some of the stuff Akara sells later in the video by the way, when it becomes relevant. Also, here's a quick gear recap to see what I'm working with currently. Calling it not a lot would be an overstatement. The only reasonable item is the shield, and even that is not very good, like I said. Room for improvement. After a while of Countess running, she dropped a rare circlet that turned out to be pretty good. It has Frost Nova on striking, which is amazing crowd control. 1 to paladin skill levels, 74 life and 19 resist all. This thing is so much better than anything I'm wearing, but I kind of just didn't want to equip it because it was nothing new. It's not technically banned by my rules, but I don't know, just feels like it isn't in the spirit of the run. Instead, I found a set war hat. The power of ice casually reminds me that I am still playing the wrong build. This blue beanie adds a ton of cold to your mold, and even for just the cold resist I will gladly wear this. Not like cold was the only resist I did have a bunch of or anything. During the farming I picked up another orb of conversion and a rare amulet, so time to roll the dice. This can become any unique amulet in the game. It could be godly, it could be gross, it can also be a rising sun. And while it did get some faster cast rate, it normally doesn't have. This amulet does nothing for us at all. It's also in the base game and therefore not allowed this run. Too bad, can't win them all. Our bad streak didn't last very long though. In the Tower Cellar level 4 the dopamine gets re-injected with a unique demon hide armor. The Defiler's Flesh has +3 to Corpse Explosion, which I hadn't mentioned yet, but I'm not using Corpse Explosion cause that is boring and makes everything viable. Not even that little caveat is stopping it though. There is +3 to Bone Armor, 25 faster cast rate, some hit recovery, 40 life, 7 life after each kill, and 40 magic find here for all to enjoy. Those are O skills by the way, meaning that every character gets them. Ever wanted to play a 200 faster cast rate sorceress with Corpse Explosion? This is how you get it. During all the grinding I've maxed out the raised skeletal mage skill. Skills go up to level 25 now by the way. They average 340 damage of each element with 340 life. They should have gone all the way and made the defense 340 as well. The items Akara is selling are divided in two groups. The first being things that help you manage where you put your gems, with a gem bag to put them in and a bunch of grabbers to get them out again. I don't really know why we don't just pile these like the runes, but this is what we are doing. There are also versions for the Uber Tristram keys. What is way more interesting are the potions she is selling. There are potions for extra magic find, experience and each of the elements. These work like a bring your own shrine, and once I have the gold to afford one of them, I'll gladly show it off. In the barracks, the smith and his swords drop a total of 2 mana potions, ensuring Akara stays in business as I grab the malus, which I just realized has now been completely power crept by the orbs that just turn an item from white to rare and drop all the time, granting you effectively infinite imbues. Even though summons are awful against the act bosses, Andariel is even worse against them, so after just damage racing her, we get to move on towards Act 2. Now I know there are a bunch of sickos watching this video wondering about how the Poison Dagger Necro will be in this mod. To answer your question, this unique heal exists. Falcon Talon has everything you could ever want. 6 to Raven for the memes, 30 faster run walk, 30 increased attack speed, a pile of enhanced damage, deadly strike on character level, 66 life, 46% cold resistance, and last but definitely not least, a casual 250 teleport charges to make sure you can skip the entire game with your dogshit build. Walking on high heels can hurt your feet, so the skeletons go and take a moment of rest and relaxation outside of the map to do some much needed bladder emptying in the safety of being out of bounds. I didn't realize before the Claw Viper Temple, but you can find skills on large charms, skyrocketing them from irrelevancy into epicness, a great addition that I personally love. The skeletons have no problems racing Duriel yet, so we leave the desert for greener pastures. First thing I found in the spider forest was a Go rune, opening up a bunch of rune words. To me, there was no question on which one I was going with. After everyone is done groaning at that joke, I'll explain why if it was questionable for you after reading this thing. This has knockback, which is cute. But the theme of this weapon is where it shines. It's called question, because it's always a question how much stats you are getting when you equip this. But the answer is just very plain and simple. You are getting too much of all of them. I'm not a very high level, but even still, I am getting 34 to all stats, 92 gold find, and a very nice amount of magic find. I don't know how to convey it more. Use this weapon while it's still like this. It is not balanced properly and should get nerfed if it doesn't click for you yet. This is a Blade of Alibaba, a magic finding staple with a 120 stats on it on a low level, more on a high level. Looking for more changed fights, I tried the Spider Cavern, which was the same. I already knew that because of normal, but that's not how story writing works, so I kept it here to keep things interesting all the way through. In the Flayer jungle, a set war belt drops. This turned out to be the Immortal King belt. We all know and love this item for the massive pile of stats and lightning and fire resistances I crave almost more than air. But it's an item that is in the base game, so we throw it on the ground and wipe away the tears. Further along we find ourselves in the Flayer dungeon level 2. A rare ring here informs me of the power level rings can have when I find out this one has +3 to burst of speed and 50 resistances. I don't know about you, but that seems pretty strong to me. Hydras can't kill your skeletons when you just bum rush the people spawning them, so using the element of surprise we decimate the council. While I'm returning my quests, I see a strange man lurking underneath Alcor's house. I don't know what he's doing there, but I don't want anything to do with him. The first of my resistances that gets fixed is the lightning when I end up finding a lightning resistance per level amulet. I don't know how high these go, but I'm sure it's too high. Just like in normal, Mephisto chills my army to the bone, cause they are skeletons and all. In Nightmare, the Iron Maiden with clay golem thing doesn't exactly work well anymore, so I need to come up with another solution. A strategy that has proven itself over time is what I end up using, just fucking brute forcing it by picking up more and more corpses from anywhere I can get them in Sanctuary. It ends up taking me about 30 skeletons, but every single member of the council gets surrounded and dealt with before we move on to the Meph himself. Even with the council dealt with, he is still not alone. Just like in the base game, there are bloodlords ready to wait on your table of pain by throwing meteors and firewalls your way. Thank you Temu Sorceress, but I am only hungry for Act 4, so no need to serve me, no matter how fire it all is. My want for the delicious loot of Act 4 is quickly vanquished when I can't even make it off the fucking stairs. All I want is to pass through, but even that is too much to ask. One quick indenture speedrun in Act 1 later, me and the full forces of the dead finally get to making sure there are plenty of corpses to work with in the future. We kind of blazed through the rest of the act, so I decided to go and see how my old favorite armorer is doing. Turns out he is doing exactly as well as his cousin Smith. He too has a few swords flying around these days to help him with the survivability upon encountering players thing. It doesn't work and we just murder the fuck out of all of them. But hey, they tried. The forge nets us an IO rune. Despite the countess running earlier, I did not have one of these yet, so that's good to have. I have nothing to use it on right now, but that doesn't matter. Gotta make sure our stash is full of unused stuff until the end of the run. Shout out to all the runes lingering in everyone's mules that they are sure they will use someday. Don't worry, you'll use them eventually, I'm sure of it. We have the best Diablo fight of the run with the mages just outracing the demon. There is another orb of conversion as a reward at the other end of his life total, so we get to turn another rare into a unique once we find a rare. Shank has some friends these days as well. Besides everything just being very busy here, there are a couple of Shank's lieutenants walking around as well. They aren't anything too fancy, exciting or dangerous, but I do like them being in here with the crowd for the added flavor to the fight. Well done Reimagined developers, it's the little things like this that really take a mod to the next level. We are just ignoring that we kind of lost the fight by the way. Just not going to mention that, cause when I got back there to fight on, Shank had walked out on his own, making for the easiest kill ever. This easy picking is only half the reason to celebrate here. Look at that, the game isn't dying upon his demise. The prophecy is true, it can be done to not have your 26-year-old game turn into a PowerPoint presentation on the death of a single monster. Another massive win for Reimagined. We picked up a rare fetish trophy, so it is time to roll again, and once again we swing and miss on items that are good for our build. The carry and comfort looks neat, but that is kind of all. Faster cast rate is a dime a dozen here, and there are much easier ways to find the plus to skills. Still can't win them all. The first signs of trouble in paradise are the ancients. These guys made very imaginary mincemeat out of our skeletons. If they are doing this bad on the nightmare ancients, I am terrified of the hell ancients. But that is the best kind of problem there is to have. A problem for future me. Now I do have to contend with our ghosts of skeleton death, demise and doom. At first I tried to do the clay golem with Iron Maiden strategy. It did not work on any of the attempts, which is kind of an understatement. Not only did it not work, it was so bad that my dog just went for an early coffee break and left the other two to wipe things up. This fight is going to be a problem. When you have a problem and no one else can help you, there is only one thing you can do. You can call the A-team. I mean grind levels. Yeah, that's what we are doing. Grinding levels. So we can build our own A-team with skeletons and hookers. The best place to do this is the Chaos Sanctuary. In here I ended up finding Andariel's mask. This has 23 vitality and 15 life after each kill, which is well, neat, not great, not bad, just neat. Another gear upgrade comes rolling in with the candidly hidden Mr. Llama meme runeword, Shadow of Doubt. This runeword is a play on the runeword white by reversing the order of the runes. More importantly though, it has +3 to summoning skills, 2 to curses and 10 vitality. I love Question and think it's very overpowered still. I do need all the help I can get, so without a shadow of a doubt I make the change. Back on my way to the Ancients, the first real belt of the run finally drops. I wish I had identified it before going into the Ancients fight, but I didn't. Our preparation for the Ancients turned out to be plenty. Between the extra levels and additional skeletons to bring to the fight, this time we easily overpowered the 3 old geriatric men. They can't complain though, they might be geriatric, but the skeletons are well, literally skeletal. It was even a fair 25 on 3 fight. We only outnumber them 8 to 1. What would they have to complain about? After the fight I remembered I had a belt. Drawing out the beast is a 20 faster cast rate, 36 life 15 resist all belt. I don't know what to tell you, this is just our belt for the rest of the run. The rest of Nightmare went by easily enough, and before long I found myself next to yet another orb of corruption. It is at this point that a hard-hitting question comes to my mind. Are we just cutting off demon balls and calling them orbs? Are we crafting with demon testicles? Deciding that I don't really want to know the answer to that question, I decide to dive into the terror zones. Here in Reimagined, those are very aptly named, as it's not just the one area, but most of an act that is getting terrorized. I'm guessing they wanted to go and get the entire act terrorized, but there is a limit to the amount of zones that can get the treatment at the same time. It still plays very well though. I decided to just work my way through all of Act 3 again. During this I picked up some more runes, and in Upper Kurast I even dumpster dived a unique zombie head. This turned out to be Death's Witness, a very early game item that still has +1 to necromancer skills, faster run walk, faster cast rate and resistances. I've cleared hell with shields worse than this, but on this run it is a downgrade, so even though you see me equipping it on the screen, looking back I think I just made a mistake here. I should have stuck with the rare shield. The biggest find throughout these zones happens towards the end in Travinkel when a Vex rune drops. I unfortunately can't walk through walls or gravity, so I end up running through monsters instead to grab it. For now, the Vex rune goes into the stash cause it's time for some degeneracy. I haven't had this many balls near me since the weekend, so it's time to play around. The first thing I try to roll is a set battle belt. I get Fade to Black, which isn't the one I'm looking for, so with emptiness filling me with agony, I try again. My second roll is a Grand Crown. It's a good thing I don't gamble for money often, cause I would be broke and living on the street as yet another roll misses its mark. I'm looking for a set Grand Crown, but one in Splendor ain't it. Not only that, but it's also banned from the run, so I can't use it even if I wanted to. Next up, I decide that it's time to just admit defeat on the gambling and go for some more consistency. Don't worry, the degeneracy is far from gone. Not a single orb will survive this run. We are going balls deep on the rolling. For now though, rune words are the consistent option, so I put my Vex rune into a preserved head I found a long time ago in a galaxy far away. This combined with a doll rune creates the rune word Loyalty. This rune word has a level 7 Thorns aura, 50 resist all and 6% extra experience gained. And now I know you're wondering why I would ever make this rune word. Well, it is because of the Thorns aura. In the Necromancer speedrun, you sacrifice both your weapon and shield slot to get an edge bow to wear for this aura. Here in Reimagined, you pay a high rune instead of some low runes. But as your reward, you get 50 resist all and don't even have to sacrifice your weapon slot. I can't imagine finding a better shield than this for this run. With our shield secured safely, it is time to go back to the line in the sand where the good decisions stand and shall go no further, and snort it right up. Our next miss is Alyssa's Essence. This has dual leech and knockback. Those are mods for melee characters, which we are obviously above in stature. At this point I'm out of green orbs, so I can't find feathers anymore. The last thing I did for now was some prep by rolling some plain items into rare items, so I can remember what I was going for once I find more green orbs. That doesn't end up taking long at all. Duriel ends up dropping one on my very next run through the terror zones. So I roll the Demon Hide armor, and there it is, the one I was looking for. We did it, boys and girls. We finally got the roll we wanted. So this is the part where I explain the plan like an evil villain. I've been looking all run for parts of the Hades Underworld set. Not only does this allow me to subtly start the Hades soundtrack on the background of the video to make it look like I'm smart. What's more important is that this set is tailor-made for us. I'll go over the pieces when I find them, but just look at this armor. +2 to summoning skills and 33 lightning resistance. For some reason there is defense on here as well, which I don't get at all, but just for the summoning skills and resists I would wear this. Now that we've finally turned our losing streak into a win, that obviously means that from here on out we can only win, because that's how gambling works. Time to slam it with the Orb of Corruption. This either gets me more affixes or gives me a reason to speedrun myself to my armor's name. You need to click twice for some reason, so first click it only gets the corrupted text. Time for the second click. Holy fucking shitballs, we hit the motherfucking jackpot. We rolled 2% to all maximum resistances and 10 resist all. Those are some crazy good mods to get on this. We still aren't done with sprucing this bad boy up though. This blue ball that I definitely wouldn't make jokes about ever. This is a serious channel for adults after all. Anyway, it's called an Orb of Socketing. This makes a random number of sockets into an item, and I figure the afterlife is a chest worthy of the release of the blue ball. We end up rolling 2 sockets, and all I can say is that we might be out of demon testicles, but this chest is worthy of everything we threw on there. Now time to finish these bad teenager jokes that adults definitely don't make ever at all ever, and this beautiful armor. It's time to fill some holes. Despite all of the extra resistances on here now, I can never have enough of a good thing, so I add a scintillating jewel with 12 resist all to the armor to fill the first socket slot. To see what I want in the second slot, I rounded out my terror zone farming and went into hell. I farmed the terror zones until I had maxed out the skeletal mages, the skeletal warriors, and their good passive by the way. I still only have 1 point in summon resist. I'm going to put more points into that from here on out for some survivability. Even with that, I'm still extremely skeptical about our chance of success with the skellies, but we've got to give them all the help we can give them. Resistance wise, we aren't doing too bad at all. Cold resist can be solved by drinking thawing potions, so for my armor's second slot I decide to go with a Ral rune. And with that, our masterpiece is complete. Look at her, +2 skills and a casual 151 resistances altogether. It's perfect. One other thing I did find was a plain monarch. Normally these get turned into the spirit rune word for its laundry list of epic mods that everybody is bored to tears of at this point. So instead, we are going to try and roll it into something cool. From white to rare isn't a big deal. But now it is time to see what unique we get. Do we get to cry and sell our storm shield to Akara, or are we hitting something else? We hit Superman's home base, the Fortress of Solitude. It's aptly named cause I would want to be left alone as well if I realized I was this much worse than a unique that was power crept by a tall rune. This has blocking, which doesn't matter, energy, which doesn't matter, and the only 3 mods that do. Magic resistance, a lot less physical damage reduction than Storm Shield and some experience gain, cause you really need the levels once you hit level 78 and can wear this. The socket roll is a bit unlucky, it can get 2 sockets, but even then I'm skeptical about this one. Feet however is still wearing my very first shield, so once he hits level 78 he gets a crumb of improvement. At this point I've gone over most of the changes that I have encountered, and the Hell Axe went mostly fine except when they really didn't. So from here on out the focus will be more on some problems I encountered during this run. And gambling, of course, we can't forget the gambling. After clearing the Den of Evil, we start off with some chain boots. Our lucky streak continues and we roll into Bone Mash. These, for very obvious reasons to anyone who can read, are the exact boots I wanted to hit. These level 19 boots have +1 to summoning skills, 1 to raise skeleton for all classes, 5 to skeleton mastery, and some casual racism to the undead. True European boots if I've ever seen them. These are my first pair of real boots in this entire run. I am still wearing some garbage ass shoes that don't do anything at all. So of course we are going to flip the coin on them. Let's see if we lick it or brick it. We put the orb in the cube, our own little market money mutual fund that will do a bunch of mumbo jumbo while accruing interest on our affixes. And it's gone. We had a pair of boots, but now we don't. Guess it's back to the old crusty rares we got way too used to. After saving Kane and getting a crappy ring for my troubles, I figured I deserved another rune word to ease my mind. While creating this, I discovered that I am not only able to brick rares, sets and uniques, I am also perfectly capable of bricking rune words. I blame this on not knowing the mod and not on reading apprehension. Couldn't be that. Being bricked up enough at this point, I decide to put a Lem, Neff and Shell into a helm. This gets me the rune word Piety. This has +1 to skills, 20 faster cast rate, a ton of mana and resistances to all elements. It's not great, but it's my first reasonable helm this entire run. The rest of the act went by quickly enough, with the only interesting thing being that a ball rune dropped while I was doing some grocery shopping for more skeletons in the Bloodmoor. With all these fancy new items, I figured this hunk of a necromancer would be quite the ladies' man. To test out my theory, I go and visit my old friend Andy. After just a few minutes in my presence, she dies, and I'm going to claim it's from the excitement of having me there. I did some countess runs after this, but didn't find anything special except for a rare ring in the Tower Cellar level 3. This ring turned out to have +5 to bone armor, 10 to all resistances and a casual 25 lightning absorb. I read that as resist the first time and I was like, damn, that is pretty good. It's not resistance though, it's absorb, which is just insane. I have no other words for it, that is just ridiculous. Surely we won't brick another item. We put the lotion in the basket, I mean the ring in the cube, together with a red orb. First click gets us the corrupted text. Second click, we did it again. We got +5% on our maximum life and mana, so now this ring is adding at least 50 more life as well. Seems fair and balanced to me. You know what the best part of skeletal mages being decent-ish is? I have never before in my life played a summoner that got through the maggot lair so well as this one. The enemies are in a queue to get blasted in the face with the full force of the mages, and I'm definitely not stopping it from happening. This feels like sweet justice after all those years of suffering through here with all my summons getting clogged up everywhere. I talked about showing off the fancy potions earlier in the video, and here we are. I finally have enough gold to start buying these things. I decided that because I want to reach level 80 for the ring, I should buy some experience potions. And before you remind me, no, the irony of me shitting on the level 78 shield that gives more experience and then getting into this situation is not lost on me. So back out in the killing zone, I drink the potion of experience, and lo and behold, I now have an experience shrine. Gone are the days of having to spend 3 microseconds taking a waypoint to check for a shrine. Now we can just drink a potion and have it right away. And you know what, I kind of vibe with it. This entire mod is about getting rid of the small annoyances of the original, and even though I don't agree with everything they are doing, I am loving the intent and the ways they are doing it, but I'll talk more about that during my final thoughts. I'll give a sneak peek into one of them right away though. As you can tell, the summoner is getting attacked by 26 skeletons. He is very easily tanking that cause he is a massive wall of health points. This is going to be a recurring theme for the rest of the run. This causes me great displeasure. We are going to ignore that he dropped a hate key by the way. The Ubers are a myth that I've never heard of, and neither have you. One quick gamble for an amulet later I have +2 to curses available to me, which is perfect cause I did a lot of cursing throughout the rest of the run. Duriel and his never-ending bag of the undead are the same as the first 2 times, with the only difference being, and I'm sure you would have never guessed it, that my damage isn't quite big enough anymore, taking the fight from fun and fair to well, fucking long. It's still not very hard though, things tend to be very manageable when you outnumber your opponent 25 to 1, or at least so I thought, but that is a murmur for later on in the run. In the jungle I reach level 80, finally allowing me to equip the most godly ring I have ever seen. Now, while I have been having a lot of fun playing Skeletal Mage only, halfway through Heltravinkel is starting to show me that they might not exactly have the staying power to keep soloing the rest of the game. That won't stop me from trying though, so for now I just force the issue by separating one of the council members and just dogpiling on them. So while for now I am still able to deny everything and pretend the kids are alright, there are some serious cracks in the armor starting to take form though. To help the party with some extra damage, the mercenary is getting a level 3 might aura that I found along the way. And boy, could they use all the help they could get. In the final level of the Durance I ran into what I think is the yearly convention of the Bloodlord Compendium. My Bloodlord, there were so many in that little room on the left. This poses a new problem. My skeletons are outnumbered. They can barely even win fights anymore when they have the numerical advantage. If the 10 meteors slinging towards us all in the first 2 seconds of the fight weren't a clear enough hint yet, this is what you would call a problem. In true warlord fashion, I decide on the strategy of sending just more bodies into the fight. I would plunder the corpses from the entire game if it helps me get through this pile of enemies. And yes, I know, I could just walk the other way, but that would be admitting defeat and I will have none of that yet. After about 10 rounds of just throwing bodies into the bone grinder, the bloodlords that are valiantly defending their own home and just minding their own business are defeated by the other horde of the undead. Truly a glorious moment for the morally superior victor that definitely wasn't just doing a very blunt home invasion into their Durance. We are good people on this channel. We would never. What we would do for sure though, besides your mom, is Tyrael's Grief. I don't get why this ring is named Grief, cause boys, I've got some news. This ring is pretty dang good. 20 faster cast rate and a pile of magic find. I don't even give a shit about the other text on there. I'd wear this for being a Nagel ring with faster cast rate on its own. The hype of this ring was killed pretty quickly though. I don't like what the developers did to our boy Mephisto at all. Just like every other boss in hell, he has become a giant wall of health. And I'm sure the problem is me gimping my build, playing a meme and just banning half the items in the game. But that sounds like it's not my problem. I want to play my trash and eat it too. Having worked our way through every single piece of demon and undead surrounding the Lord of Punctuality, we aren't too late to deal with him as well. Which means we are moving on to Act 4. Before getting into the act, we get to gamble our troubles away. I roll my only pair of boots, the rare demon hide boots I was wearing, and yeet them into the Orb of Assemblage. We rolled Rite of Passage, which is an item that is in the original game, so it's banned and I have no more boots. I get the impression that runes aren't as rare in this mod as they are in the regular game when an Ist rune drops in the River of Flame. I've also been drowning in mid runes compared to the usual amounts of finding them. Our Hellforge ends with us netting a Lem rune. Even here in the mod I still like finding these a lot. I don't know why, but they just feel right. Speaking about things feeling just right, the Diablo fight feels about just the right time to talk about what I think of the mod, cause this fight took forever. I'm not even joking, this was a 30-minute Diablo fight with half of the time spent like I'm a medieval Dutch cruise ship seeking involuntary travelers in the far oasis. Every single goddamn time I run into this fight, my skeletons die just a few seconds later, so I might as well use this time in a proper way before we get to the finale. So my final thoughts on the mod are that all in all it has gotten much better. The first time I played it was when it had just released and items were just too broken, which seems to have been fixed. Furthermore, after my extensive and vast knowledge of playing exactly one run, which obviously qualifies me to give every single opinion like they are the facts that will save your life. All kidding aside, this mod is fun and I am very much enjoying it and would love to revisit it sometime if the video does well. So go ahead and leave a like and a comment if you're still here on this way longer than originally planned video. Doesn't happen often that I last longer than I expected, but here we are. I love a lot of the new items. Some of them still feel overtuned and way too strong, but a lot of them are much closer to what they should be, and I think whoever developed this did a great job in improving the mod. I don't know if the act bosses feel like such massive walls because of my meme build, or because of them having too much health. Either way, I didn't like the boss fights in hell very much. I do like them spicing things up though. They just felt overtuned on the final difficulty. Diablo 2 Reimagined gets a solid thumbs up from me, and if you're ever looking to try something new for this game that I was going to say hasn't had new content in forever, so swinging around a bit between mods can be a fun experience, but that kind of fell through yesterday. This is still fun though, you can check it out when you're done with the Warlock. Meanwhile, in the Chaos Sanctuary, Diablo has finally taken a dive after annihilating basically every single skeleton I could farm off the planet, dropping on Orb of Conversion as our reward. I don't have anything to convert right now, but once I do, it's casino time again. No need to wait too long to get lucky though. In the Bloody Foothills a set Grand Crown drops. This turns out to be Lord Hades' throne, the helm of the Hades Underworld set. I'm short about 30 base strength, which needs to be fixed before I can wear it. To fix that, I decide to defeat Shank the Overseer. As a reward for this, Lazuk puts a hole in my helm, that I can then fill with a Hell Rune to take off 15% of the requirement. The stats on the helm aren't very interesting at all, but it does grant 2 to revive as a set bonus, which becomes relevant in a bit. Gamba wise, I decided to roll a Shaco, cause it would be hilarious to roll a Harlequin crest and then toss it on the ground. Instead, I got Bane's Dark Wisdom. This has 20% extra experience, which is nice if you want to level, I suppose. We are in Hell Act 5 though, the time for leveling is over. It's time to run into a steel wall. I have some bad news. The skeletons are not doing well. To be more precise, they are getting absolutely fucking wrecked by the ancients. And these guys are a problem that just throwing more bodies at doesn't solve. You can't leave this fight. I give it a few tries, but none of the fights had the skeletons last longer than a few seconds. Instead, I decided to do what every Diablo game wants you to do. I went grinding, figuring I would be able to power up using some rune words. I headed towards the tower, and while trekking through the Black Marsh, a pair of Demon Hide boots dropped. The River Sticks are the boots I have been trying to roll for this entire run, and now I just end up casually dropping them while walking around looking for anything. Stat-wise, they are better than the helm, which really isn't saying much as the best stat on these is the 30 run walk by a mile. However, as a set bonus you get +7 to skeleton mastery. If there is ever a way to push my beautiful skeletons over the hump and into power Valhalla, I can't imagine a better way to do it than +7 to their skill. So tonight my skeletons, we ride straight into our dead as we get fucking destroyed again. I'm sorry boys and girls, this is the final stop for the skeletons. Even with +7 to skills, they are just not getting it done. Who are getting it done are the couple of revives I kind of just picked up along the way for shits and giggles. They were getting the job done, no questions asked, until Talek sniped me from the back and whirlwinded me right out of this planet. I hate the conclusion that I came to, but I knew it had to be done. It was time for a respec. The skeletons didn't get the job done in the end, faltering at the finish line, so it's time to go and play an actual good build for the final stretch. To do so I do the exact same thing, but also put points into the revives. And yes, this is going to go exactly as you would imagine. The revives very quickly got done what the skeletons couldn't in their wildest dreams, and they didn't even break a sweat doing so, plowing their way through the ancients, no questions asked. Feeling sad about not clearing the run with the skeletons, I tried reviving them again in the Worldstone Keep level 2, but they were just dying as quick as I was summoning them. The time of the skeletons has passed and it is now the time of the revives. And they were here for a good time and not a long time, blasting away every single thing in their way. Pale waves were gone in seconds, and the final boss himself, well, he's having trouble with the 5 Deathlords working their way through his life total. I'm wondering how he thinks he is going to deal with the other 20 waiting to pound his face in. So while my final gear is being shown on stream and the Deathlords do unspeakable things to everybody's least favorite tentacle monster, I wipe away a tear as even though I'm obviously beating Bale, I feel like I failed the challenge, cause I, well, did. This video has already been crazy long, so I just want to wish everyone a nice day. Don't forget to check if you're subscribed and I will see you all in the next one.